Jamal and Kim's Inner Circle Health Tribe, episode 28.
It's time to reverse the imbalances in your life as you take the first step on your own journey towards personal change. Welcome to Jamal and Kim's Inner Circle Health Tribe, educating, empowering, and inspiring individuals to live healthier. Now here are your hosts and your guides to natural living, Jamal and Kim.
Hi, Kim and Jamal here, and welcome to another episode of Jamal and Kim's Inner Circle Health Tribe podcast. This is episode 28, where we will be recapping this Monday's past episode, which was episode 27, featuring Hope Robinson. And the title of that podcast was Cesarean to VBAC to a Home Birth. And as I mentioned, I'm Kim, and I'm joined with Jamal.
Greetings, everyone.
And
peace and blessings.
Yes. And first, I want to say, before we dive into this episode, thank you, Hope, for joining us on our show this past Monday and sharing your powerful, powerful birth stories. And we know that those stories inspired and kind of opened the minds of a lot of families and women just on the aspects of birth, the experience of birth. And there were so many takeaways from that powerful story. It was like a 3-chapter story where she just shared the 3 birthing stories of her 3 beautiful girls. Her first daughter was a cesarean birth, and she shared that experience of being a first-time mother, being influenced by the medical industry. They were giving their opinion on how she should proceed with delivering her child and the after effects of that birth. Her next story was she had a vaginal birth, a VBAC, which stands for a vaginal birth after cesarean. And a lot of people do not experience that because after a cesarean, it is recommended that you do not have a vaginal birth for so many different reasons, and they steer women away from that. But she was able to have that amazing experience, and then it transitioned into her home birth. She recently had her last daughter, her beautiful little girl, and she had a home birth, and she shared the transition and experiences with all of those births that she had. And it was very powerful. A lot of people downloaded that episode. It was a lot of great dialogue. And the number one, or the first takeaway that I got from hearing her story, especially starting with the cesarean birth, was, the after effects of it, the recovery. And she shared that it was expressed to her that the cesarean was just going to be like a simple little procedure. You can schedule the date of your baby and know the birth date of your baby, and you have the surgery at the cesarean birth, and then, you kind of go home. I'm just generalizing it. But she was saying that no one told her about the after of having a cesarean, just how painful it was, how she just felt disconnected from her baby, because after the baby was pulled out of her from, when they cut you open, she cried a little bit, and then she was knocked out, from the medication and everything, and just the recovery, the pain from the incision, the tremendous gas pains. And she was just saying that it was just so traumatic, the recovery, that she never wanted to do that again.
Yeah, definitely got a lot from that episode. Again, thanks, Hope, for being on the show.
Yes.
And I think that she exposed a lot. She revealed a lot of things within that show that she went through. And the first thing is, like you said, to come back and have a vaginal birth after a C-section. I think that's tremendously powerful and just great information, because doctors deter women from doing that. They talk against it. And there's so many women that want to have a vaginal birth for whatever reason. They had to have a C-section and they want to come back, but they feel like they can't. So it's not even in their mind to attempt it. But you got a chance to see firsthand that it is possible and it can be safe. So Hope was able to do that. And then also having an unassisted home birth, because a lot of times the medical industry makes us out to be so helpless, especially during childbirth, women out to be so helpless, and they have to be saved, and the doctors have to save them, and for women not to trust in the natural wisdom of their body. And that's what she did. And don't get me wrong, I always think that when you're chartering new territories, it's good to have some help. So it is good to have someone at home with you and to have an assisted birth, meaning you have some specialists that have done this many of times. And, whatever direction things may go, they are there to help you to deal with it. So I do think that it's important to have that. But at the same time, she showed you that it's very possible, like the natural wisdom kicks in. And for the man and the woman, the mother and the father, your natural instincts kick in when they have to, and you do what you need to do. And it can be beautiful. It can be powerful on your own because it's looked at as so dangerous.
Right.
It's so dangerous. So I think that that was powerful that she got a chance to reveal her journey to you in all aspects. And you got a chance to see the healing powers of birth, and you just got a chance to see the power of womanhood within her birth process, how she lived into her power coming from a C-section, which is, taking all of the power away, and then standing in absolute power of having a unassisted home birth by the third birth.
Right. I mean, she didn't plan
Right.
for the third birth to be an unassisted home birth. The baby it came very fast, but she did share that she was comfortable at home, and she shared that she was able to labor any way that she wanted. She was on all fours on the ground. She can get up, she can move. And when you are in an environment when you can relax, that's when your body opens up. I know for me in my own experience with birthing Seora, and we share with many people in previous episodes that Jamal and I chose to have a home birth. And one of the biggest factors was I wanted to be in an environment that I was comfortable in. And that's another valuable point. We spoke about this in episode 15 with Maha Al-Musa. That was a very powerful episode about giving the woman the platform to have the birth that she wants, allowing a woman to tap into her feminine power, her intuitive power, but it has to be an environment where she feels safe and she doesn't have to feel so guarded. And because a lot of times you need to be able to relax and open up for your baby to be birthed. But if you're in an environment where you don't feel safe, and I think for women, we just have to understand that there are choices out there in terms of your birth. If you're not comfortable at home, are you comfortable in the hospital? If you're not comfortable in the hospital, maybe looking to a birthing center, but do your research and just don't leave it in the hands of your doctors. They're giving you an educated opinion based on their education, but it's not the end all be all. Just definitely do your due diligence. Just talk to different people who had birth different ways and make the right decision for you and your family. But there's no one cookie cutter approach to having birth. But everyone wants to have the birth that they want. They want a peaceful birth. They want a birth where the baby is relaxed and not put under stress or any harm. So what environment is that for you and your family? And you have to have that birthing plan. I shared this with Hope. Have your birthing plan in your mind. See the birth that you want. Keep focusing on that birth. And, you have to know where you want to go. Just don't leave it in the hands of someone else because, you feel like they know more than you. You are the mother. You are the divine vessel. You have the power, and you have to tap into that and know that you can do it. And that's what I shared with Hope when we got on the phone with her during her labor. She called us. It was, at the end, and she didn't even realize that she was at the end. But I shared with her that I could tell by her breathing that she was at the last stage. The last stage is transition. And it's the stage when it's the toughest part, but it's the shortest because your body is trying to move the baby out. And I can tell by her voice that she was there. And I said, when she was going through a contraction, I said, put down the phone and you have to go within, you have to breathe. And when she got back on the phone, I just gave her a few words of encouragement. And I just told her, I said, you can do this. Your baby is going to be birthed at the right place at the right time. You can do this. But I said, okay, you have to go, you have to focus. And a little bit after that, she had her baby girl, and she shared with us on the episode that in that vulnerable state, she needed to hear those words of encouragement. During that time, sometimes you just need someone outside of you to just say, you can do this. You're almost there. You can do it. And that helped her to deliver her baby. She didn't plan to deliver her baby at home, but she was able to experience a home birth. And she said she was so grateful and she loved the experience.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point about reminding women. And that brings us to the role of the father, the role of the mate in this birthing experience. A lot of times as men, we get marginalized or kind of X'd out, and it's all about the woman, all about the mother to be. But this is a family. You're giving birth to the next level of your family, and the father has a huge role in that prenatal process, a huge role in the birthing process. So it's important that as men, you understand your role. And, we're coaches. We're coaches, and we need to coach them. We need to keep them focused. We need to keep them relaxed. We need to remind them about the breath. So I think that it's important for you to go on your journey together, mother and father. I think it's important to take courses. Kim and I, we took a course together. We studied together the hypnobirthing, which I think is amazing. And we took a course, the Bradley's method. And we watched the DVD a week. We read books.
Right.
We empowered ourselves to really understand together as a couple the birthing process, so that we could maximize that experience and make it as comfortable as possible. Right. So as men, it's very important that we educate ourselves on our role and what we need to do. So don't feel like you're on the sidelines because you're not. Your role is extremely important, because just, if you simply don't remind your wife or your girlfriend or your mate to breathe and to focus, and it's so much going on. Just it's as simple as it sounds. If she panics and something goes in a different direction, before you know it, you're doing things that are not a part of your birthing plan because someone else was allowed to come in and change things.
Right.
As the men and the fathers, we're supposed to make sure that the birthing plan is being followed as well, because a lot of times that's the last thing when the mom to be is going through labor and she's going through her contractions and working on it.
She can't think about nothing
she's not
else.
thinking about that. So it's up to us to make sure that this birthing plan is being followed. If something looks like it's going wrong, we have to be the ones to jump up and put things in order. I remember we was looking at this one DVD, and I forget the name of this one because we saw so many. It was a documentary, and basically the doctors, because the woman, the labor was extended. They were in talks of having a C-section because they felt like it was taking too long, and that went against the birthing plan. So what the father did was he asked everyone to leave the room, including the doctor. He wanted to have a discussion with his wife. And everyone left the room, and he locked the door. He locked the door, and he put chairs in front of it, and they could not get in. And, everyone was trying to get in the room. They couldn't get in. He had the room barricaded, and he waited until the labor progressed, until the baby was crowning, and then he finally let everyone in to continue the process, and that's how adamant he was about obviously making sure that his wife was safe, but adamant about sticking to the plan and not letting, just because, they feel like they're the authority, to come in and change things around and to start throwing fear at you. A lot of times fear is used to get us to do things in other people's favor. So it's important to be empowered, like Kim said, and to educate and just understand the process and understand that you hire people to work with you. You hire doctors, right? They work for you. So they follow your plan. You take what they have to say under consideration. But at the end of the day, it's your body, it's your child, and things can go the way that you want them to go. If everything is fine and everything is healthy, they go, it goes the way that you want it to go. So don't be afraid to create a birthing plan, to follow it, to educate yourself, and to understand that you do have options.
Right. And just for people to remember, we always say that it's not like we dislike the medical industry, because it has a time and a place. But we're not back in the 50s where you had the home doctors that would come and could spend all day delivering the baby and could be there for the birth. And it's just a different day because a lot of doctors are overworked. They're stressed. They have packed schedules. So they don't have the time to give you for you to labor and allow your body to labor at the right time. That's why they push you towards the C-section, because it's in calculated time. They know, okay, if I do the C-section at 5, it'll be done at X, Y, and Z. And it's just more controlling. You can control the time. You can control the bed. Okay, this person will be out of this bed in 2 days. And it might seem cold, but it's just how the medical industry is. It's just a numbers game. They have to get you in and out. That the day where you could sit there and stay as long as you can, it's no more. It's, okay, how many days does your medical insurance pay for you to stay after a birth?
It's money.
Okay, well, you have to get up and go home. That's just how it is. So don't knock it. It is what it is. Just understand what it is so you know how to navigate through it. So if you choose to have a birth in a hospital, understand how the system works. Understand how to protect yourself. Find a doctor that may be in alignment with your thoughts. But don't just simply go to anyone and just take it as the end all be all, thinking that they have your best intentions at heart, because they just want to have you birth your baby, but by any means necessary, as long as they don't get sued in the process. You know what I mean? So that's what we always tell people. Don't be mad at the medical industry. Just understand how it works.
Yeah.
Don't look to change $1 billion industry, because you're not. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why we decide to have a home birth, because of a lot of things that we feel are not in alignment with the medical industry. And I'm certainly not, while I'm pregnant, going to go fight and go see a doctor and fight for how I want my birth plan to be and go through all that stress. I'm going to go in alignment with a midwife that I can sit with. Jamal and I can go there for hour visits, have talks, not feel rushed, develop a relationship of trust, and have a great relationship, so that when I'm in my labor, I trust my birthing team. I know she heard what I want my birthing plan to be. We are in alignment. We developed a great relationship. I'm comfortable. I trust her. That's the environment that I wanted. And that's what I want people to be, especially women and families, to be empowered with, that you do have a choice. You just have to do your research, your due diligence, and listen to Hope's story. A lot of people do not have the opportunity to have 3 different births like she did. They may have the one cesarean, because I've talked to so many mothers that, feel bad about how their birth went. They're grateful that they have their child. But in terms of the birth, it was traumatizing. It was traumatic. And they wish they would have knew so much more before they were pregnant. And what we say is, do your due diligence before you conceive. You don't have to get pregnant and start to learn. If you know you and your significant other want to have children down the road, start the process now. There's an excellent documentary, The Business of Being Born, by Ricky Lake. It's a very powerful documentary.
Yeah, it's powerful.
It shares an objective view of the birthing industry. And I recommend it to anyone. I had my family watch it because they were very apprehensive about Jamal and I having a home birth. And we showed it to them. And I'm not saying they were 100% like in on me having a home birth, but they understood the why. Why did I choose not to have my baby in the hospital? And it gave them the statistics. It gave them the facts. It gave them an objective point of view, not from their daughter or their, daughter-in-law, but from what's really going on out there. It really sheds light on the high cesarean rate. And for women that have cesarean births, it's not a knock because, look, at the end of the day, you want your baby to be in your arms and birth. But if you don't have to go through a cesarean, why do it? If you can prevent a cesarean birth, then why not take into account those things and understand why you may be led to a cesarean birth? And in that movie, they provide so much research and information to empower families to understand that you do have a decision to birth your child into this world the way that you want, but you have to be educated, you have to be prepared, you have to be, you have to be steadfast, and you have to believe that you can do it. So there was so many takeaways from that episode. I mean,
also it's like, think about this, just the biasness that we're taught, from the time that you really learn about childbirth and the process, the images, what you learn in school, what you're told, what you see on TV. It's always, women being rushed pretty much to the hospital. It's an emergency.
Right.
They're screaming. They're flying down the road. She's in the back seat doing that Lamaze type of crazy breathing. and screaming and cursing people
Very
out
traumatic.
And stuff like that. Like that's the image that you see all the time, right? So in your mind, not just that whole traumatizing experience, but you automatically associate childbirth with a hospital.
Right.
Like that's all you think about. And it's not until you hear about it or you're exposed to someone that did it that you start hearing about birthing by other means in other situations, water births and home births and birthing centers. And they even have, nature birthing and so many other different types. Like you don't even begin to hear about these things until later on in your life. You hear about them once or twice. So you feel comfortable with the idea of a hospital, right? But think about a hospital. What is a hospital for? A hospital, most of the time, is for emergencies. When you have an emergency, you go to the hospital. It's kind of like a one-stop shop where they handle everything to get it stable, and then they send you off to your specialist. But when you have time, when you plan, right, where do you go? You go to your specialist. You go to your doctor for your digestive system. You have your general practitioner. You go to your doctor for your reproductive system, your gynecologist. So there are specialized places that you go to for different aspects. You don't go to a hospital if it's a non-emergency, right? So we're so used to going to a hospital, but remember, it's a general place. So what would seem like the most logical place is a birthing center. Think about it. It's called a birthing center.
Right.
A birthing center is a medical facility. They have doctors there. They have midwives there. They have doula there. They have nurses there. They have health practitioners there. This is a place that is designed for birthing. That's what they specialize in. You come in, the environment is different, and it's designed for giving birth there. So you're going to have a different experience when you go to a specialist as you would a hospital. But we're not taught about birthing centers nor other things. But when you really think about it, the most logical place, you want to be comfortable and you want to have it wherever you want, but the most logical place would be a birthing center when you think about it. I mean, we chose to have it at home, but if we couldn't have it at home for whatever reason, it would be a birthing center. Right. It's definitely not going to be a hospital.
That was not in our plan.
Right, it's not.
But not to knock anyone that does. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, it's not knocking it, but just think about it though. Like if when you have to have open heart surgery, you're going to work with a specialist, right? So why not go to a specialized place? So just putting it out there so that if this is we have to expose these things more so that you can give it some thought and begin to look into these things.
Yeah, definitely. Just keep an open mind. Do your due diligence. Know the birth plan that you want.
Right.
Know that it's possible. Know that you can do it. And that was pretty much everything from this episode.
Yeah, great show.
Yes, definitely. And 2 things. If you did not get a chance to listen to Hope's interview, just go to jkhealthtribe.com/27 and you can get access to that episode. And for this episode, the show notes, anything that we reference in this episode, you can access the show notes page at jkhealthtribe.com/28. That's jkhealthtribe.com/28. And you can access the show notes there. Okay, so until next time, live healthier.
Peace and blessings. Stay healthy.
We hope you enjoyed your time with Jamal and Kim's Inner Circle Health Tribe. To keep you on your path towards a happy, healthier lifestyle, we encourage you to visit jkhealthtribe.com for a free copy of the 8 effective ways to lose weight and keep it off, as well as more content to help you find your health balance. Thanks again, and we look forward to educating, empowering, and inspiring you to live healthier.